Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna be identifying what a trend is in the markets when you're trading. So how can you identify a trend? How do you know when the market's trending? Like how can you identify when the market's trending? And depending on your strategy, identify trends in the market might be quite important to your trading strategy because when you're day trading, you can't always use your strategy in every single type of market unless you're using a similar strategy to my 90% win rate strategy, which I've done on my video yesterday. Well, this my video might not be uploaded today, so I don't know. But it's going to be the latest video on my channel. Um, so unless you're using a strategy like that, normally when you're developing a strategy and you're coming to trading, you're thinking about a strategy that you want to make. You have to think about what kind of market conditions you're going to be essentially using that strategy in. And so, in doing that, you need to figure out what kind of condition the market's in. So, how can you identify when you're in a trending condition versus when you're not in a trending condition? And when you're not in a trending condition, we call that consolidating. So, for example, let me just zoom in a bit here. So, we see a bit of like consolidation here. So, consolidation is basically the market is not really doing anything, it's just kind of going sideways more or less. There's no one direction up or down where the market is going. How you can identify a trend is usually when the market starts pushing up in one direction or pushing down in one direction. So we call this, you can identify it using the for uptrends, you can use the higher highs and lower highs. So that's how you know there's an uptrend. Let me just quickly get my drawing tool here. So basically, in an uptrend, you tend to see things like a higher high followed by a lower high, followed off by a higher high. So something like this pattern that you'll see. That's how you know you're in an uptrend. For a downtrend, you get a lower low. So the market is pushing down, the market will pull back slightly, and then the market will continue to push down. And so that's how you can identify either an uptrend or a downtrend in market. Right. Okay, let me just get rid of these. Okay, and also when it comes to trends, a lot of the time when people creating the strategy, they usually fumble with this because a lot of the time you'll sit around and you wait. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna wait for, say, for this market to show me, say, this higher high here, then obviously a lower a pullback here, a small pullback. Then I saw another push off. So what a lot of people do, they'll sit around and they'll wait and be like, okay, so I'm starting to see this pattern forming, this higher, higher, higher low. Um, so obviously we're in an uptrend, and also you can visually see that you're in an uptrend. You don't necessarily even need to think about the higher high thing. Um, but a lot of time people will sit around and wait, and then they'll be like, okay, so the market's pulling back here now. I'm gonna I'm gonna think this we're in an uptrend, so I'm gonna buy at the first pullback. So they'll see this green candle, for example, and they think, okay, you know, it still didn't the market still didn't break this low here, so therefore I'm still in an uptrend. And then, depending on their strategy, they'll apply their strategy in this kind of market. But the thing, and this is why trading is so tricky some of the times, because, you know, let's say if they buy here, and obviously this is an example, I've obviously seen what the market's done, but a lot of the time the market doesn't trend for very long, and so what will happen, people will get into here thinking the market's going to make another high, and then that may or may not happen, but in most cases it kind of doesn't. And unless you have an insane stop loss, you're going to get stopped out of this trade. So the problem with trending strategies, and I mean, it depends on your obviously personality type and all that, but I personally don't even bother trading trending strategies anymore. At least I don't really use it on my personal accounts. I know you can make a lot of money trading the trends, and that's what you're technically supposed to do as a day trader, but I don't really trade like most traders trade. So my strategy doesn't involve things like stop losses and stuff like that. But that's just a story for another day. But you know, because you're sitting around waiting to see this structure for a trend, by the time you're ready to get involved, the market's like, okay, I'm just gonna drop now. I'm just gonna drop all the way, and you kind of sit there left confused. Um, but how can you identify when you're in a long-term trend? How can you know that the market is just gonna keep falling, falling? One of the biggest things that you can do, one of the biggest things that you can do to help yourself with that is is to check: are you just coming off a consolidation? Are you coming off of what I like to call a sideways moving market? If we're in a naturally sideways moving market where the market's not really, it's not really trending up or trending down for a long period of time, it was always in this sort of range. So we see this 1.08 range to roughly 1.083, 1.084. The market's been in this range for a while. Trying to apply a trench based strategy here just isn't smart. Why? Because you're naturally in a range bound market. The way you can identify if the market is going to be trending for a while is if the market's been moving in one direction for a good amount of time. That's how you can identify that, the market's likely to keep moving up and up and up. Um, so you need to identify that the market wasn't just ranging before. It's not just ranging and then you see some higher highs and you're like, okay, we're trending now. That's not really the smartest way to do it. The smartest way to do it is to hold off, wait for the market to start really moving in one direction or another, either the market's uptrending or downtrending, and then get involved with your strategy. So yeah, that's more or less the basics of it. But yeah, when it comes to trends as well, obviously it depends on your strategy. Trends don't just move like the textbooks say. They don't just, downtrends don't just go down and then do a small pullback and go down, small pullback, go down. It doesn't really. Oh, that's a bit too wide. All right, get rid of that. Uh, just get rid of that. Yeah, so I was saying, downtrends, they're not perfect. Even in this downtrend here, you can see this massive candle here, and then it even broke this technically this downtrend. This is what we call noise in the market. Sometimes could be caused by news or anomalies that happen throughout the days, or people freaking out, manipulations, all of that can affect the market. So downtrends, they don't really follow textbooks. So when you're coming into live market conditions, you really have to sort of yeah, you can't take things black and white because you're not going to really get very far doing that. There's a certain randomness to the market, and it's very rare that you'll find the market moving, as perfectly as that. But yeah, anyways, so that's it for this video. That's the basics of trends. Identify a trend, higher trend, lower trend. You can make a decent amount of money. It's much easier to make money in trends. I do agree, but sometimes you do tend to sit around waiting to see if the market is actually trending, and then it pulls back naturally on you. So that's something to think about. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe. I'll be making another video on consolidating markets, what they are, and what causes them.